Hey guys, welcome back to the Certified Fangirl Podcast. Today I'm joined by singer-songwriter and all-around ray of sunshine, Lys. In this episode, we get into what it's like trying to make it in the music industry right now, balancing multiple jobs and also just embracing being a fan, like not being afraid to love music and the artists that inspire you. We also talk about the bands that shaped her, like Good Charlotte, Mayday Parade, and also Dad Rock, and what she's hoping for in the future, including going on her first tour. We're manifesting that for her. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Certified Fangirl Podcast, where we celebrate fandom, spotlight the people behind the music, and bridge the gap between fans and the music industry. I am here with Lys. So would you like to give a brief intro about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Lys for short, Alyssa for long. I make music, mostly rock music. I've been kind of involved in that for a very long time, and just over the past couple of years started making like my own music.
Awesome. When did music first become something that you wanted to pursue seriously rather than just something you loved listening to or going to shows?
Honestly, I feel like there was a year where like I started kind of like finding more local people and just like having the realization like, oh, people just do this. You know, I think I grew up in like the era of like people getting like discovered and stuff like that, where I was like, you can't just like make music. Like you can't just do that. So then whenever I started having more friends that were like in the music industry, it kind of opened that up for me. So I would say it was probably like a good 7 or 8 years ago that I like had that realization and was like, no, I think I want to try it.
You just like woke up one morning and decided to do it, or like what was that final like push for
So
you?
the funny thing is my family, my parents were both music majors and like my family was super musical growing up. Um, so I did like cheer and gymnastics. I was kind of like sporty spice. Um, I think partially because I was like in, the world, I was like a little bit more rebellious, against whatever it was they were doing. But it was definitely it was gradual. Like for a while, me and my younger sibling just started writing songs together, and we did a couple of like little acoustic shows back when I lived in Texas. And then yeah, when I moved here, I started a band with like people I knew, and then it was back in Texas, and then I decided to move here and kind of like ruin that. Because they were like, we don't want to move to California. And I was like, that's valid. I get it. And so then I just kind of started doing my own thing. And it was a progression of like, I was working with the band, and then it was kind of like, well, I'm like writing my own music, and it feels like, I don't know, it feels kind of weird to be continuing these songs that like they worked on as well. Not in like in more like a respectful kind of way. Where I'm like, I want to make sure, they get recognized for all of their work too. So kind of just like separated from the band. And it's been a couple of years of that. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry, I like went on a whole tangent.
I love when people go off on tangents because it kind of gets them to open up about like their past and their history and how they got to this point in their life and their career.
Yeah.
So you said you moved out here. You were from Texas?
Yes, yeah. So I'm originally from Missouri. Me and my family moved to Texas when I was going into high school. So it was like my childhood was in Missouri, and then like up until I was 25, high school through 25 was Texas. So I think I'm gonna hit 5 years of living. No, 4 years of California this year. So.
Awesome. Well, I mean, welcome here. I'm SoCal born and raised. So, I mean,
Oh, nice.
you know,
Amazing.
welcome. Love to have you here. And I'm sure there's a lot more resources out here. I mean, I'm sure there's parts of like Texas and maybe Missouri that have, outlets to kind of go for music, but I feel like California is like the place to be.
But yeah, definitely. And it was like a dream of mine too. Like I grew up in the middle of nowhere, and so I feel like I was always like, I'm gonna move to New York or Los Angeles. Those were like my two shining stars. Um, and then Los Angeles just worked out. So here I am.
And I feel like knowing people that grew up like in places that were like the middle of nowhere, they always kind of dreamt of, I'm going to move out there. I'm going to live in like the big city, you know, have those big aspirations. And I feel like that kind of propels you to want to try harder,
Oh yeah,
to get out.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. There's definitely a little bit of that. I also have like the monthly existential crisis of like, did I come out here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? You know what I mean?
Only
Yeah,
monthly? No, just kidding.
sometimes more. Anytime like something big happens with my family, because like I don't know, I'm like I love my family. I think we are very different now, but I still like love them. It's a weird thing. I work out in therapy a lot, but but I have like anytime something big happens with them and I like can't be there, I'm like, all right, like what am I doing with music? Have I come far enough to like justify leaving? You know? And yeah, but you know, it happens.
If I understand. But like, yeah, as long as you have that passion, I feel like that'll kind of keep you going, and you'll feel like this is the reason why I'm here. This is what I was meant to do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I do have those moments a lot where like even though, you know, I haven't achieved necessarily like the biggest goals that I wanted to achieve, there's a lot of like things that I've kind of been um like no, I don't want to say forced into, but like things that I've been like just put in the room and it's like, oh, now I'm doing this. This is cool. But there'll be moments where it's like, oh, I'm doing this and I have like the realization of like, this is actually really cool that I get to do whatever this thing is that I'm doing. And I wouldn't be able to do it if I were here. So
1000%. And you haven't reached those goals yet.
exactly.
So we're getting there. We're getting there. You're climbing up, you know. You have so far to go. You'll get there. So who were some of the artists or bands that really shaped your taste in music when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I would say the like very first band that I was like super into was Good Charlotte. I was like so into Good Charlotte. And then that like kind of transitioned to like Mayday Parade. I was like a huge Mayday Parade fan for a really long time. But I will say too, like just throughout my whole life, I've been like a big, I guess what now you would consider like dad rock person. So like Grace, like Nickelback, Three Doors Down, like that kind of era. I've like it's just always been. I think because like growing up in the country, it was like you either listen to that or country. And like I'm not gonna lie, there's some country that I'm like, okay, this is fun, but like I've never been a huge country fan. So I was listening to a lot of like rock and that's kind of just continuously been a thing for me. But I will say as I kind of just like kept transitioning. So I went from like being a huge fan of Mayday Parade to a huge fan of like Bring Me the Horizon, which I'm still a huge Bring Me the Horizon fan. But yeah, now it's like Halsey's the end all be all for me.
Okay, that's an interesting pipeline.
Yeah. I think that's the reason I like resonate with Halsey so much is like she does so many different genres and I'm like I've been into a lot of different things, you know?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. She kind of is like emo adjacent and kind of fits into all those different spaces, but still is like a pop artist. People say, "Oh, she's alternative," but because she does fit into so many different boxes and can kind of take up space anywhere, like on any kind of festival roster, anything like that, any kind of show, she can kind of just fit in there.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think like it's been a little bit of like that's kind of I don't know. There's been conversation around it because I know it was like her last album didn't do as well as like, you know, whatever. But it's like for me, I like I've been a fan of all of it. But then when she started doing like the rock stuff with Trent Reznor and like all of that, I was like, God, this is what I've been wanting. So yeah, there's been a lot of I would say a lot of fandoms in my life, but um that's kind of the music that rock is where my heart is.
And then how did you discover these bands growing up?
So funny. So I used to get like, I was like kind of sheltered growing up. I didn't really start going to shows until I was like, I was probably like 16 or 17. Like I was driving, but I would get these like Warped Tour compilation CDs. I remember
Oh
one of
yeah.
them had like Beartooth on it and the Wonder Years, and I found them, through that. I was like, oh, this is so cool. So would watch do you remember the TV show? Do you remember Fuse? Yeah, okay. So I would watch that all the time. And my best friend Samantha, when I was in middle school, me and her, we would like sit down like every like Saturday morning or whatever it was, and we would like watch all the music videos. Oh, it's bringing me back. It's like how I discovered Avril Lavigne and that's how like we both really got into Good Charlotte. And I remember like the first two CDs that I ever got. The first one was the Good Charlotte CD in my like Easter basket, which is so funny. And then right after that, I like begged my mom to go to Walmart and buy the new Evanescence CD that just came out.
Yes, I feel like Fuse was one of those very big gateway stations for a lot of us where they would have the music video marathons like in the morning, whether you're getting ready for school, and you would just be exposed to all these bands that you normally like wouldn't hear on the radio, and then also you'd get to see what they looked like as well, and that would be such a huge inspiration to everyone too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I think I'm gonna change my hair today because
she had pink hair. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was super into like honestly like middle school, high school, like that whole time I was like I fully like I was like drop me off at the mall, I'm going to Hot Topic. Like I was very much, ingrained in that. And I do think it came a lot from like those mornings. I feel like I'm showing my age a little bit by saying that, but
No, I was gonna say I'm definitely older than you, so I can I feel it. Yes, when you kind of like think back and like, oh, I was on MySpace, I've discovered this band. Yeah, exactly. So then that kind of like gives you an idea of where um the age range is. But it was a great time for music discovery, honestly.
Yeah, and I feel like I was like, not to be like a hipster about it, I feel like I was like one of the first like Tumblr users. Like Tumblr became a thing and I was like immediately like I was so obsessed with it. I remember like finding La Dispute on Tumblr and I was like, this is the best band ever. I still feel that way. They're great. But like
yeah. So like making a band your whole personality and
exactly.
Never growing out of that. It's just
exactly. It was never a thing. So true.
1000%. So who do you like fangirl over now? Like who is your band that you're kind of like fixated on, or bands?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I have a lot. Anyone who knows me at all will 1,000,000% say she's obsessed with Halsey. So that's a thing. That's just always been a thing. But yeah, I mean, movements, I love movements. Yeah, they're like I've loved them for a really long time. I feel like they are just like changing the game. The thing is like with them is like their music is so good and they're also just like so nice. I've genuinely never met a band that I was like with them the way that I was like, that's just I remember the first time I met Hat, I was like, oh, I'm like also trying to make music and like whatever. It was super nice and I was like, can I send you my song? And I did, and I was going to a couple of different shows on that tour. And the next one he showed up and he was like, okay, this is like what I think was good about the song. This is what I think was like could use work, like all this stuff. And I was like, that's so amazing. The fact that he like I was just like a fan, And the fact that he like took time to be like, it's great that you're trying to do this. And like, I want to help in any way that like any advice that I can give. So yeah, definitely them. And then there's just like, I don't know. I feel like I have like bands that I love that are like more recent, and then just like classics that I always go back to. Like I love Through Those Grace. I really do. Again, just
Taking it
can't
back
keep
to the
pace.
country days, y'all.
Exactly.
That's so great about Pat from Movements, though, to actually take the time to actually listen to your song and give you feedback on it, because I feel like people normally like don't do that. They would just be like, oh yeah, whatever, and kind of
Yeah.
move you along. But to actually take the time, like, that's really sweet. And
So sweet. Yeah. And the fact that I was like, I don't know, I felt kind of like, I mean, like, you don't have to listen, but like if you want to, and the fact that he listened and was like, okay, I feel like I have some things to like share just from my knowledge of like songwriting and what works and what doesn't, Yeah, it was very nice. So,
was that before you put your album out?
yeah, so that was actually back when I was with my like the first band that I started was called Handstand. And it was like the very first song that we ever recorded. So it was actually me and my bass player at the time, Devin. We're going to like the Texas shows of where the movements run, and because it was a lot easier to do that. I feel like when we lived in Texas, because everything was like it's like all kind of spread out, but it's like you're used to driving when you live in Texas, and it's like driving an hour in Texas means it's like actually an hour away versus here there's like traffic.
An hour is 3 hours with traffic.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was with that band at the time.
That's awesome. And so you had approached him like in person about it, or?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what tour that was. I think it might have been their first headliner. So they were still kind of like, hanging out after the show, like pretty easy to like find to talk to. It's not so much that way now. So we just walked up to them after. We're like, hey, listen to us.
Like more accessible bands, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which I totally get it. It's like it's scary out there. So when bands get to the point where they're like, I need to like not, you know, be as in the crowd after the show, I totally understand that.
Yeah, it gets to a certain point where it's like, I get it, with the safety and
Yeah.
everything, you kind of have to protect yourself, and then it gets to be too much after a while. So I get
Yeah.
it. So how would you describe your sound to someone who has never heard your music before?
So my first EP, I would say I would describe it as like super experimental. I went through a phase of like really being into, I still like it, but I went through a phase of like really being into hyperpop. And I was like, I am going to make hyperpop. It's going to be amazing. And I think I kind of hit a wall with that where I was like, you know, I feel like I'm putting myself in a box a little bit here. So I would say the first CP, which I kept saying like, this is the time to do it. If I'm gonna like experiment, I think it's like the first thing you put out, right? So I have a few songs that are like very poppy, very hyper pop, and then everything else I would definitely describe as rock. I would say like pop rocks.
Yeah, definitely. When I was listening to your album that you put out last year, I was like, this stuff is fun.
Thank
This
you.
is like definitely the rock influences, and then has like the hyper pop, the like electronic influences in there. And I was like, I could hear this played, at a Warped Tour kind of scenario, or I could hear this at like a club, and just,
Nice.
kind of multifaceted in that way.
Nice. Well,
So
that's
were
a
you
huge
kind of
one.
like, were you kind of going for that when you were
Yeah, I mean,
recording?
I think when I started making music with LysXO versus like the bands that I was in grammar. I kind of was just like I want to do like whatever I want to do initially, I kind of didn't have like a really strong direction at the time. It was like I was listening to a lot of like Maggie Lindemann and like Royal and the Serpent, like people that were like I guess similar to that, where it was like they were kind of just doing like it was like rock adjacent, but they had like elements of pop in there and stuff like that. And I've always loved I feel like I'm a person that like just I can't make up my mind ever. So that definitely like feeds into it a little bit. But I'm trying to be better about that.
That's fun though. Like, you can kind of do whatever you want and mix it all in there. And I feel like genres have kind of blurred a little bit more like as years have gone on and people don't really confine themselves. I mean, I feel like artists don't confine themselves. I feel it's more like the fans who want artists to like sound a particular way, and
Yeah.
then the artist can kind of, you know, they need to kind of spread their creative wings. I love that it kind of can check off different boxes, and I feel as long as you're true to yourself, figuring out what you're trying to do creatively, that it just works.
Yeah, yeah, that's all that matters. And like, I think that when it came to like, "Oh, I need to figure out what genre I am," it was very much like, how can I do this in a way that like makes sense to people, but I'm also like being very authentic. And I think with how much like how many different things I'm into and how much my like music tastes kind of change, but also they're the same things but different things. It's nice to have like different things people can turn to.
1000%. What song in your catalog do you think people should start with if they or when they start listening to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a song called Don't Give Up on Me on that EP that I am obsessed with. I think it's my favorite song um from it. And I think it kind of encompasses like all of those things because there's definitely like elements in that song that feel very like pop and like techno-y. There's like a lot of vocal effects like in the background that's like echoey and all of that. And so there's like a little bit of pop, but then like the chorus feels very rocked. And I'm like, this kind of has a little bit of everything.
You're an independent artist.
Yeah.
And so what's something people might not realize about what it takes to be an independent artist like right now in the year 2026?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. Um, I would say just like from maybe this is kind of like not the answer people are expecting, but I would say just from like a existing as a person standpoint, like almost every single artist that you listen to has like 7 jobs. Like both from the standpoint of like, oh, I have to do social media and I have to do all of this stuff and I have to network and I have to do the emails and I have to, but also I have to survive. A lot of independent artists are not making any money off of music. So I would say that's the hardest part. It's like I didn't grow up in a situation where it was like my family's like, "Oh, you're moving to LA, like do your thing." It's not like I have like or anything like that, which is valid. But I think that that's a thing for a lot of people that people don't realize. Yeah, it's hard. It's just you know. But other than that, I think it's kind of the struggle of like it's all oversaturated. There's like a lot of people out there and knowing how to build a community instead of having a mindset of like, I have to be better than the next person or whatever. 'Cause I think community is kind of the thing that grows everybody at the same time.
It's like how do you break through?
I really do think it's like there's there's enough people listening to music for us all to achieve whatever it is we're out here trying to achieve. I just think with the industry changing and with I think like the internet has been again, I'm gonna show my age. You can now hear independent artists. You don't need like those middle people to like get your music out there. Like you can just put a yeah, it's great because it's like you can hear all of the different people who are trying to make music. And I think that's been like beautiful and awesome. Now there's like almost too much. It's like overstimulated. Like so many artists today. So you really have to like stand out somehow, which is the hard.
Like how do you stand out among everybody else? And I
Yeah.
guess it's just the repetitiveness of trying to put videos out there over and over and over again and hoping that people see it.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why like I really respect people. Scene Queen first started making music. Like not everybody. I mean, if still, there's always gonna be people that like don't get it, like what you're trying to do or what your genre is, whatever. But I feel like she's a great example of somebody that like really stood out And now, she's doing great. So that's awesome.
Exactly. I think that also, like, when you say that people have like 7 jobs, I think people really don't realize that people are working outside of just doing music, and
Oh,
they
yeah.
have like day jobs they have to go back to.
Yeah, 100%. I was watching and Lexi was saying like that they have like so like they're doing like everything, you know? And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I think when you start like involving yourself in the music industry too, it's just like I just want to be here like in any way. That's really what got me started like doing merch and stuff too, is I was like, yeah, I'm a musician and want to make music, but also like anything to be here.
Just put me in that room.
Exactly.
These bands, you guys work your asses off to like go and
Oh, yeah.
perform and entertain us, and you guys still have to do like second, third jobs. Like, this is crazy.
It's wild. Me and my boyfriend joke all the time. Like, oh, if I finish my work at this time, then I can start like working on music stuff at this time. We always have this thing that we say where we're like, if you finish your work, then you can work. It's like we work to work.
Too much, too much. So what do you see for yourself in the next few years? Like, where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing or accomplishing?
Yeah, I would love to, especially with music, I would love to start playing shows more regularly. I would love to go on my first tour. That's like big, like shining thing that I'm like always aiming for. Yeah, it's hard to do as a solo artist, but I would say that that's like the big dream of mine, especially with music.
What kind of tour would you want to go on? Is there anybody in particular that you would love to tour with that's like the be all end all like at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a couple. Um, this is so funny. Like, it doesn't make sense musically, kind of, but like, I would love to tour with the Wonder Years. Like, I want to tour with them so badly or play a show with them, um, because like, I just think they're so cool, and I'm obsessed with their music, and I love wrestling, and I want to like know about wrestling. So that's
That'd be awesome. And I feel like they don't just bring bands that sound exactly like them on tour either.
so
They
true.
bring a lot of different sounding artists with them too, because they're going into like a little retirement, right?
Yeah, I mean
Hiatus. Yeah.
they're on tour right now, like an album tour, album anniversary tour. There's the word. Um and then yeah, I think maybe like a little hiatus after that.
Yeah.
But
Break.
yeah, but yeah, they're up there for sure. And then there's also a lot of like just artists that I feel like I found in the last like year or so that I'm really excited about. I found this girl Carr recently who I feel like makes music that's like very similar to kind of like what I'm trying to do. I really right now and like I love this there's this artist Violent Vera that I love right now. That's very like very it sounds very Flyleaf to me, like Flyleaf, Evanescence, um sounding like that would be really cool. I love the idea of going like an all um like LGBT non-male tour.
That'd be
That
awesome.
that's like an exciting prospect in my head. But also I'm kind of like anyone that wants me.
No, totally. I guess just trying to put yourself out there and see what like who catches on, and maybe like with the Wonder Years going on their little break, they'll have more time to be online, and then they'll
Yeah,
find you.
totally. That would be amazing. Yeah, it's funny. I have people in my life that I know that are like closer to them or work with them or friends with them or whatever. And it's so funny. I feel like something that I kind of discovered after moving here, because I feel like I moved here and I was like, I can't be like a fan. Like I have to be, you know, but then over the last couple years, I've been like, okay, people like it when you like the stuff they put out. You know what I mean? So I feel like I've just been more comfortable being like, yeah, I actually am like a really big fan of them and like also would love to be friends with them if that ever happens.
I see it happening. I think that you bring up a really interesting point, though, just being kind of wary of showing that you're a fan of something. Because I think people, not to show that you're like nonchalant, I guess, but in a way, show that you're professional, or you're not super like the word fangirl. I feel like has like a really big like bias toward it, because people are kind of scared to show that they're fans of things. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be passionate about something. It's not a bad thing to like something.
Yeah. And also like fangirls, like I think that thanks to things like your podcast, which I'm, loving so far, I think it's becoming more well known, because it's like fangirls are very passionate. And like if you are a fan of something, I think that fans working in the music industry is just a win for everybody, because it's like you want the thing to come out good, like no matter what it is that you're trying to do in the music industry, because like that's the thing that you're passionate about. Like in my head, I'm like, that makes more sense than not, Um, so yeah, I'm glad that there's more conversation about that.
Being passionate about something is such a strength, because there are so many times where people just don't care. It's cool to care. It's cool to care about things, and it's cool to show that you really like something, or somebody's music, or you're willing to like put effort into something because you love it so much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's not, I mean, I honestly don't even know where it came from. In my head, I think it was just like the people I was around. But yeah, like when first moving to LA, it's like, you see like people that that make music in Texas, but you're not like really going to shows being like, I love this band and like I haven't met them yet. Like it's a very different thing, versus here it was like I was seeing people that I like actively listened to and was like already a fan of, just around, at things. And so there was always like a thing in the back of my head where I was like, I can't let them know that like I listen to their music. And I think it's really been like over the past, year or so, where I'm like, no, that's actually crazy. Like they want people, like I'm just thinking like from my perspective, it's like if somebody walked up to me and they're like, I love your music. It has not happened to me a lot, but like there's been a couple times where I've met somebody and they're like, oh, I've heard your song. And I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. It's like, that's why you put it out, right? It's like people listen to it. So yeah. So I think
That's why you do it, right?
exactly.
To build your community, and and it hasn't happened a lot yet.
So true.
More people will come up to you. Yes, exactly. I was like, while we're at it, let's break down all the different stigmas in the music industry.
Yes.
There's like so many rules now that I've been thinking about for a little bit now, that that I don't know where certain rules came from, to either like how you behave, or certain things that you can and can't do, like faux pas in the music industry. It just makes no sense. And I love that people are kind of questioning certain things, whether it's like something small, like, oh, you can't wear the band's t-shirt to the show, or something like that. Like, really, where did this come from? Just things to break down. And
it's so funny. I remember this is bringing up something funny for me, because I remember going to, I think it was like We the Kings or something. I've seen them so many times. But like at Warped Tour and stuff, but I I remember seeing them, and they had like this thing that played before their show, like an audio, thing before they came out. And at first it was like, nobody get out your cell phones. And then it was just like, just kidding. I don't know why bands do that. It's like free promotion. Why would you tell people not to record the show? And I think about that too with like the t-shirt thing, where it's like, don't you like what? Like that. But wouldn't you want people to wear the t-shirt?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. I think that there's so many rules and stigmas and things that are kind of have been dissolved over the last few years or so. And everybody just is like, have your own rules, do whatever you want. Like there's no right or wrong way to be a fan.
Yeah. I'm kind of like obsessed with this generation, this like new generation that's gotten into like emo music and like rock music, because they're just like, no, you actually can just like do whatever, it's okay.
I love that. I'm like, where was this when I was growing up? Because there were so many rules, and everyone was so terrified of being called a poser growing up. Like that was
Poser.
like the worst thing that you could be called growing up, would like ruin your whole life. And you had to stick to all these rules and regulations to avoid being called that. And now everyone's like, I don't care. Call me whatever you want. Like,
Yeah. I
um,
love that. I love
yeah.
it.
I like, it just feels so freeing. And I'm sure they're way less stressed.
Yes, totally. It's like you see it now in like crowds too. Like I remember like one of the first shows that I was like in a mosh pit and I was like so scared to like go through the crowd. And I remember being like, I'm going to I want to like, and the person in front of me was like, yeah, girl, go. And I was like, amazing. And so, I love that. I love that there's like more just kind of, yeah, you do you, I'm gonna do me. And like, everything's cool.
I 1000%. I love that. Like, oh yeah, go for it. Excuse me. Can I like,
Yeah.
can I go up? I just want to go over there. Like,
Yeah.
fit. Thank you.
And
That's
most
so
of the time,
cute.
it's like they're standing in the back because they don't want to be in the pit. So they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
I
Love
love
that.
it.
I feel like also now people are more inclined to make friends at shows too. I feel like within the last less than 10 years, I've made so many more friends at shows than I used to. And because I feel like people want to have that community or want to have that kind of, they want to relate to somebody else. And we're all here for the same reason. We all love this band.
Yeah, 100%. I remember, I think I saw your TikTok about this, about saying like, oh, if I'm ever at a show, come up and like say hi to me. Yeah,
Yes.
I love that. I'm obsessed with it. I think that like, and that's what it's all about, right? Like the community. So I love that also like, I think it's a little bit been born of necessity because you do have to put yourself out there a lot more as a band now. But I think like a lot of bands are really fostering that too, where it's like they're creating like fan accounts and they have like their Discord and they have, all their stuff that's like, talk to each other. Like I think The Main was like, as a really good example of a band that did that like way back. It's like still doing it. It's like they're connecting their fans a lot.
1000%. That's like, I feel like when I talk about certain bands and certain bands that have communities where fans feel comfortable or they feel like it's really like a tight knit community, people always bring up The Main.
Yeah.
So thank you, The Main, for shout out The Main. And you have a song with their name in it too. So
I do, yes.
So
Oh my gosh, oh gosh, what festival was it? Sad Summer? No, not Sad Summer. Yes, Sad Summer. Because
they played that.
Yes, it's sad. Okay. Oops, sorry. Getting my festivals confused. I think
there's so many
was announced recently, and like my friends are on it, and so that's just like on the brain. I went to Sad Summer one year, and I was like, oh, dude, The Main is just like so good. And that was actually the Main song was the first one that I ever wrote with my producer, Kyle Roy, Devin from Honey Revenge boyfriend, it's my producer. And I went over and I was like, can I just I want to write a song about The Main. He's like, about The Main? Like, yeah. And so what I did was I literally just had like their albums pulled up like on my phone, and I was just like looking at them and like the song titles. If you listen to that song, like almost all of the lyrics are like some kind of reference to The Main. Like in the second verse, I say like, what a lovely little walk away and you left me lonely, where it's like a reference to the album Lovely Little Lonely, like stuff like that, and it's like still one of my favorite things I've ever done lyrically, I think.
Have they acknowledged that song?
So not really. I mean, okay, Pat, he did like one of the videos, and it was like not a super well done. It was like a TikTok where it was just like a bunch of pictures with like the song. It was one of those like I don't have a TikTok to post today songs. He liked it, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. But other than that, no, they have not.
That's something. I mean, at least they know of it.
They know it exists. That's
they
all
know it exists. Yes. Oh my gosh.
I have had people like comment on TikToks and be like, like tagging The Main and like everything, and I'm like, it's fun.
Just your whole comment section is just at The Main.
Yeah,
just reading through it.
There was a couple of those, and people being like, "Oh, they have to see this," and I'm like, "I hope they do. That'd be cool."
Yeah, they probably have.
Surely they have.
So with speaking about community, my next question was about where do you see the music industry or the music scene going in the next few years?
Oh man, that's a big question. I feel like kind of not super qualified to answer, but um
I mean, you're in it. You're making music. You're a fan. You know,
oh,
you have a say.
so true. Well, where I hope that it's going, honestly, is I hope that a lot of people that are interested in music start doing more local things. I think that LA specifically like struggles with that. Like when I lived in Texas, it was like we had kind of the opposite problem where it was like everybody was just like a local band. It was fun, and that's like a lot of where my like favorite memories come from is like going to a show at someone's house, you know, and then like you all go get pizza afterwards or whatever, you know, and that's always super fun. But there's not a lot of that here. Um, and I think that is huge. I would love to see like more people doing that. I also want to see more people that are older making music and like getting somewhere with it. Someone that I know, Maddie was just talking about this, and I love the idea. 'Cause it was funny. We had a whole conversation about it, and then I saw her in an interview talking about it, and I was like, yes. She's saying like I don't act I'm not, like, super interested in hearing, like, the 18-year-old talk about, like, their life personally as, like, someone who's about to be in my 30s, you know? Like, I wanna hear more people that are my age, like, getting on the radio, and, like, I wanna hear what they're going through that it's, like, what I'm going through, and, like, I think that there's not enough of that, and I think that a lot of labels and, like, higher up people I mean, I've heard from people that, like, uh, hear that you're, like are, like, not interested. And it's like, that's a super bummer. You know what I mean? Not only as, like, someone who's making music who's not 24, but also as someone who listens to music, you know? I mean, obviously, like, I love finding new music and, like, small creators and stuff like that, but it's also it's a bummer to think that we're all just kind of being, like, shoved to the side because we're older than 24.
That's such a good point. I always think about this because I'm gonna say, especially as a woman,
Mm.
too, they kind of try to give us an expiration date as like 30 or you're 35 or you're 40. Oh no. Oh, and it shouldn't be that way because it's like we want people to talk about their lived experiences. We want people to be able to live out their dreams and not feel like they're too old to do something. I hear that so often. Like, I'm too old to pursue a music career. I'm too old to, people even think they're too old to like go to shows. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, there's not an age limit on any of this. Like I
No.
want people, I would love that. Like, I love how you brought that up. I would love for people to, feel like they can still achieve their dreams, even if they're a little bit older than what like society has deemed too old to like pursue a career.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, like as somebody that like listens to music too, it's like that's kind of like I also I feel like, I relate to that more. I feel like I like that's more inspirational to me as well. Like I feel like when I find somebody who I mean, even like Warped Tour this past year, it was like so many parents with their kids and like just
Multi-generational, yeah.
exactly. And like I love that. I love because like there's no age limit on music, right? Like everybody listens.
I hope people realize that you can enjoy music and make music at any age.
Especially as a woman too, it's like we like another like a kind of depressing joke that like me and my boyfriend have is we always joke about um like music industry years is like dog years. People are like, "Oh, well, you're 29, but you're in music industry years." Like I don't think this is like possible now, but you hear about these artists like back in the day, like Eminem used to lie about his age. Like he said he was 24 until he was like 35, you know? So just to like continue making music and like being taken seriously, which is like so sad.
Do you find that you are really enjoying bands like coming back, having this like resurgence, like making new music in this stage? Like, we have Boys Like Girls came back and made a new album, and the Cabs coming back with a new album, and certain bands are just coming back, but as themselves now, as opposed to just playing the older songs.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's super cool. It was so weird. I had this realization. I went to go to was it the Blink? Yeah, it was the Blink-182 tour with Pierce the Veil. And I had this realization when watching Pierce the Veil. I was like, oh, they're huge now. Like, and it's crazy because like I thought like I was living Pierce the Veil's prime, when I was seeing them like in these like smaller venues. I was like, oh, they're so big and they're like doing great. And now it's like, oh no, they like had a second prime, like, and they're doing so much better. I think that's great. I think it's amazing. Because it's like all of these people like started in music just the same as everyone else, where it's like, this is what I want to do. And so getting to see them like come back and relive it in a way that like is more than just like the nostalgia of it. Cause I think people probably get tired of playing like, you know, boys like girls probably gets tired of playing like Thunder.
Every single show
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
thing I think about too. Like, I'm like, how sick are you guys? Like, how sick of the song are you playing
Yeah.
the song over and over again?
And I have never experienced that, but I keep making TikToks with like this new song that I've done that I haven't like, put out. It's literally not even mixed yet. Like,
Mm.
and I'm just like, I don't like anytime I think about making a video to like one of the songs that I put out last year, I'm just like, ah, like, not that I don't like them, like I love them, but I'm also just like, oh, I want to do something new. And, like, I can't imagine it's gonna be hard to like play the same song over and over and over and
For
over and over.
20 plus years, every
Exactly.
single show. And then you like have to because it's your biggest hit, or, people are experiencing it for the first time and you're like, okay, like they deserve this moment too. It's,
Yeah. I think
so.
about movements a lot with that too, with like their song Protection that they truly don't talk about, don't like never play. And then they like had to play it in I think like the UK or Australia or something, and they're like, they've never heard it before, we'll play it for them. And I remember it was like a whole era of their fans being like, I'm not coming to the show if they don't like Protect. And now I'm like, good for them for standing their ground, I'm sure there's because I think they recorded that guitar player, like all this stuff. So I'm sure there's like stuff, with that song, but sure it's hard.
I'm sure it is trying to decide like, okay, we have our 5 songs that everybody's expecting us to play, but then kind of trying to like, I feel like this is a whole other conversation of like trying to get people excited about new songs as well when they're so based off of like nostalgia, but trying to get people excited about the new work that you're putting out. So that's like,
Absolutely.
I feel like that could be talked about for a whole other hour, but
Absolutely. And here's the thing, I get it because I feel like I do see both sides because like if you're not like a music fan, like you just want to listen to something that like makes you happy and like, takes you back, like whatever. Because I have songs like that too. Like I said, like, you know, I'm listening to Animal I've Become every other day. I'm always going back, but at the same time, it's like I think if you want to be able to be involved, I do think that people that are finding new music that don't like have a moment, um, those are the people in the music industry that are like saying, people that have that um that mindset of like, I want to find music, and not everybody's like that. So it's like it's hard because you have to do that one thing that like becomes a trend or whatever, and then people get your song stuck in their heads, and then like you reach everybody instead of just those people.
yeah, like the what you say, like Pierce the Veil with like the So Far So Fake
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah,
trend, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then I think like King for a Day also had like a moment on
Oh yeah.
TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, where can people find you and how can people support you in your music?
I am LysXO Music on everything. So LYSXO Music, wherever it is that you listen to music and follow people on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So yeah, where I'm at.
You had said you had something coming out soon or in the
Yeah,
works?
there's things in the works. I am writing music right now. Nothing coming out yet, but I'm shooting for like summertime.
I mean, that's coming up. We're already in mid-March, so
Yes, yes. So right around the corner.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is so